everyone, and welcome back to another episode of OHKO, a Pokemon VGC podcast. A lot of news, not just in the Pokemon world, but in the overall Nintendo world as well, as of course there was a little Nintendo Direct this morning. There's a lot to talk about, and I cannot wait. My name is Sierra Dawn, one of the hosts, joined here by my co-host, Joe Brown, and other co-host joining this morning, Leon the Cat. Yes, named after the Galar champion, but you're around bright and early for that Nintendo Switch Direct. How you doing?
It sure was bright and early, Sierra. I went right back to bed after it was over because I stayed out. I'm a late person, you know. I stay up pretty late, so I was a little groggy as I was like, oh, Donkey Kong, as I'm trying to stay awake, you know. But no, it was actually pretty awesome. Shout out to Nintendo, who loves us. Nintendo putting their event on a Wednesday, so we can actually talk about it timely on the podcast compared to TVCI always announcing stuff on Thursdays after we record.
Yeah, or like late Wednesday after we record.
Exactly,
it's always way too late for it. But yeah, I did not wake up at 9 to watch the presentation.
Oh.
So my plans for this morning is I was going to wake up at 11. I was going to go to the farmer's market to pick up like a couple groceries to meal prep until the next time the farmer's market opened, which is Saturday. And I woke up at 11 a.m. to a loud thing of thunder outside. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not stupid. I'm not walking outside in a storm. So I then decided to watch the Nintendo Direct. Then I didn't really go on socials. I did quickly, and I saw one little spoiler about GameCube stuff. But that's my own fault, and if I really cared about spoilers, I would have woken up at 9 a.m. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about there. Is that the first thing we want to talk about today?
First of all, we do want to dive in here. We want to update. We want to update from last week, because you told everybody that you got to do some Pokemon Unite commentary over the weekend. So I think the podcast, the viewers and myself are interested, because I was busy all weekend, so I was not able to watch. I apologize, but I hope you had a fun time. Give us some updates. How did it go casting Unite again for the first time in a while?
Yeah, so for anyone to know the lore, 2 years ago, shortly after Unite came out, I actually casted the March Cup Finals. I casted with Spraggles. It was me, Spraggles, Doobs, and I am Jeff Hoagland. And yeah, it was me and Spraggles. This is before they had their little like duo and are like the Unite duo now.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, after that, like VGC was just so busy. I never had time in my schedule. If I'm recalling correctly, they reached out to me for a couple more events, and every single one was like, there's a VG regional that weekend. Oh, and ASE's that weekend. And it was just always like, I always had to say no, right? So, I mean, at that point, like, the game's
found other options.
Yeah, understandable, right?
Yeah.
But I always loved Unite. I've always had a lot of fun with that game when I'm not solo queuing.
Yes, facts.
Yeah. So it was always one of those things that it's like, man, like I never really had the time to push back into it to try and like grind up through grassroots to maybe be considered again. But I always wanted to get back into the game. Then at UIC, I got the opportunity with the casual stream to jump on for the Unite section. A lot of like the casters were rotating, but they did have a couple casters that were scheduled in. And I was the only person scheduled in for a game that was not my game. So they're actually like, okay, like Sierra, like, we're going to bring her in for this. So she has to be in this seat to talk about Unite, whether she wants to or not. You know, she's not rotating. And I was just really happy that they're like, hey, she knows Unite, she can do this. And I had a lot of fun with it. And then they needed people to fill in for the March Cup Finals because, I mean, the wonderful NA casters are in Japan for a huge competition
so
out
awesome.
there.
That was so awesome.
So awesome. So they needed people to fill, right? So they actually reached out and were like, hey, like, you wanna come cast? Which was just like, oh my goodness. So I was even thinking that morning, like, man, how do I get back into Unite? And then I got reached out to a couple hours later, and I was like, it's a sign.
It's meant to be.
It's meant to be. But it was so fun. I like the thing with Unite that I think was a little difficult is obviously for VGC, it's all turn-based. So it's like one thing happens, another thing happens. And it also says it all out on the screen. For Unite, how much I can play a game depends on whether I'm actively working in it or not, because I only have so many hours in a day, right? And half those hours are consumed with TFT. So I really I spaced out the other gaming amongst the titles I'm working on. So a lot of Valorant, a lot more Pokemon VG. So I haven't gotten to play as much Unite lately. And oh my gosh, so a Pokemon uses a move. Obviously, it doesn't say what the move is. You're just supposed to know the animation.
Yeah.
So trying
And 6 different Pokemon have Hydro Pump, and it's 6 different iterations of Hydro Pump. Yeah.
And then there's all these different moves. They could do different like move branches. Like one move could then go into this. Like there's different options, and you need to know the animations, especially to like Unite moves, like ultimates, etc. are huge for battles. But you also need to know the animation to know when they're being used, which is a huge thing because that's obviously completely changing the match, right? So it was a lot for me. It's definitely something that if I get to do a little bit more of it, that I would get better at. But like, oh my gosh, it was so stressful, but also just so much fun. Like I had a great time.
That's awesome. No, I'm happy. I'm happy for you. Happy that you had an opportunity to step back into the Unite world. Hopefully, it can lead to more opportunities because they always have these online events. Like I don't know if it's every month or every 2 months or something. I feel like I see Zoinks posting all the time about these online tournaments that are officially ran by Unite. So fingers crossed that leads to more. I had a lot of fun. I did commentary with Battle Hub a couple of times for their grassroots tournaments, and I had a lot of fun like working with that team, and everyone's all over the place. People were in England and like so like my co-caster is like Kelos from Australia, but then the producer is in England, and then our like observer is from Brazil in the battle up there. Like, it was just all over the place, all the community coming together. So I think Unite non-solo queue is a very fun game. We always have to make that distinction for sure.
Yeah, it was such a goofy time too. So my partner for the event was zero in on Alex, and what was really stressful is we're both play-by-plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's sometimes play-by-plays that kind of switch a little bit, etc. Like you're a play-by-play that like does some color commentary, depending on who you're casting with. I'll play-by-play with analysis for VG, but for Unite, where like I know my skill set, right? Like I'm definitely better suited for just like a strict play-by-play. He is also a strict play-by-play, because he's damn good at it. So we're just like, oh my gosh. Then we got the honor of doing the grand finals. So it was like, oh my gosh, extra pressure now. So I was like super nervous about that because I was worried about my own analysis skills, like not being able to provide depth. But like it ended up being so good. Like we would split up team fights. Like it was just like awesome. Like like for casting, like that synergy and like chemistry between casters is so important.
Oh, yeah.
You can have two very skilled casters. If they can't talk to each other, things are going to fall a little flat, right? It is what it is. And picking up on tosses, etc., is one of like the hardest things for two casters to be able to do to a point where it seems seamless.
Especially online, too.
Yeah. Like I was talking about maybe having our cameras on so we could see passes, etc. We casted a little bit of the open quals on Steel Agent Kyle's channel on the Saturday to like just like unofficial, get some practice reps in. And one of us would like drop in the middle of a team fight and the other would pick it up seamlessly where they like stopped.
That's awesome.
And it was like, oh my gosh. And then it was just like, you'd always just like laugh at everything. I'd make the stupidest jokes and he'd laugh, but then like I would just burst out laughing because like you shouldn't laugh so much at my dumb jokes. And then the whole cast would be derailed, and it was a lot of fun. It seemed very Unite, like they're always a little goofier than us. They always have a lot of fun, and it was a great time. Like I was calling him out live on air for making like the same absolutely joke like the third or fourth time, and I'm like, you need a new joke, man. Like this is like the fourth time you made this. This is the discussion live on broadcast.
I love it.
It's happening. It was a good time. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It is up on YouTube for anyone who wants to go back and watch it. If you are a Unite analysis snob, I had some bad news for you. But
just like it's like, oh, I only like Doom and Sprinkles. Sorry, Sierra, I can't watch this. It's like, no, it's still fun. It's still fun. Watch it.
It is fun. And Alex, even though he is like play-by-play, he was crushing it with like bringing analysis points. And I think that especially from like League and just like playing the game so much, like pretty good with like the bigger scope things. So maybe I can't tell you why a Pokemon's going to do it better in a fight with this moveset. But I can tell you the positioning in this fight and this little flank and etc. is like,
Yeah,
like
that
those
was
types of
that
things.
was really the same thing for me, right? Because I have some experience doing grassroots league commentary, and even though I'm not pro in Unite, and I play casually, like I'm not like hardcore, and I don't hit masters every set or whatever. Like there's still general crossover between the two games that like I remember once I was casting a Battle Hub event, and I think like maybe like 30 seconds in, a Squirtle blew his flash or his it's not called flash, whatever, a eject button, right? And so in my head, I'm like, listen, if I'm the Dodrio on this team, it's like I tell my Dodrio he blew eject button. I immediately gank top, and like as I say it, the jungler comes. The Dodrio comes and hits and gets the knockout on Squirtle because he already blew his flash, and like it's like, all right, I'm not an idiot. I might not be a superstar. I'm not Zoinks out here. I'm not Spraggles out here. But like, I have the fundamentals of how this type of game can work in my head, and can still express that to the audience.
Yeah, like it's cool to see like the knowledge for that because it's still very valuable stuff, right? Of course, like those things with like the Pokemon, the moveset, like how they match up, how this Pokemon, like a draft screen, I was kind of bad at because that's something that like I know I have a doc. Like I had a doc with every single Pokemon, like how they kind of fare in this current meta, what we can normally see, why they may or may not be picked. I had their Unite moves, I had like their moves, what should be most common, etc. And I did have a little bit on how they match up into each other, but like that sort of stuff is also stuff you get from really playing and watching and knowing the game at a higher level, which
100%.
again, I just haven't had the time to commit, right? But the other things I was able to provide, I think was nice. So I was really content with
And
that.
the drafts in Unite is a different world from League, right? It's a whole kind of like there are bans, but it's not the same. It's not the same way that League does it, and a lot of times in Unite, like the support or like defender gets picked first, where oftentimes in League you save support or let's say like top lane for counter pick on the red 5 side, right? So it's kind of a different environment. So I can understand being a little, uh lacking there, because it does take time. It took me a lot of time because at first be like, oh man, whatever strong attacker is like really strong right now, Tyranitar's really strong right now or whatever, just throwing the Pokemon out there. And every time it would be like, nope, Blastoise, Hoopa are the first two to go. And I'm like, but Tyranitar is really good. And it's like, well, in Unite, they value the utility more than, because everybody does damage in Unite. Everybody can kill everybody. So you want to value the utility more. I get it.
Well, it's even like for this one, it's like sometimes the supporters, defenders, etc. are getting picked first, but then also it's a very heavy like speedster meta. So then sometimes it was actually just like a double speedster, like something getting picked first. Like it was kind of all over the place, which also made it a little bit more difficult. But yeah, it was fun. I hope that I get the opportunity in the future. Like that would be like please Unite gods.
Yes.
I enjoy yelling.
Get Sierra more.
I enjoy yelling over your game. Please let me yell over your game. Like I can't.
Now, did any of my advice make it onto the commentary when I was like, bro, just go to birds 2 minutes in, go contest every bot Reggie, and try to win the game at Ray with 2 minutes left? Did any of that make the commentary or no?
Like the not like exactly how you said it. Obviously, it was brought up in little terms, but like one team, they just every single time go to bottom Reggie,
That's
and
what
then
I'm
like half the time
saying.
they weren't contested because the team was contesting top. So they're like, okay. Like I
Go.
commented that they are like redeeming their coupons for these bottom Reggies because they're free every single time, right? Like birds come up and they're instantly gone. So like, don't worry. Like I didn't say, hey, Joe Brown said this is how you play the game, but it's okay. But also, like, the team that ended up winning didn't contest every Ray. Like, they literally are known for scoring a lot in advance. So then the other team is pressured at Ray to make a move. So the other team just, like, chills. And then if they just chill, they win the game because the other team can't do anything.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
okay.
But if the team pushes on forward, like, they're really good at the team fights, too. And because they force the other team to come to them, they just got to hold off long enough in the fights. And then even if the team gets Ray, like sometimes there isn't even enough time to like capitalize. Then like in the grand finals, they ended up getting bracket reset and like just 4-0 sweeping. at one point, Ray is up and they're just like, not. And they just went and scored a bunch of points and gave the Ray over. But they got so much points from scoring at the 2-minute minus mark that even though the other team got a free Ray, the other team's just like, all right, now we just scored 500 points. Now we just don't die because there's no points for the other team to get other than what they got from Ray. And they can't win. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
That's pretty awesome that they have a unique playstyle like that. That's pretty cool.
It was cool. It was fun. It was fun.
I'll say I have a commentary gig myself this weekend. This Saturday, I'll be casting a One Piece store championship. My old local game store is having their store championship this Saturday. I'll post about it on Twitter, and I'll be doing commentary for that. It's a whole new world. We just had a new ban come into place, banning 4 cards in One Piece, so it's gonna be a big meta shift. So it should be a fun time. So follow me on Twitter, and I'll tell you it should be this Saturday at noon. I'll post the link on socials.
My advice, if they play good cards, they'll win. Bad cards, you'll lose.
Hold on, wait. Let me get my notebook real quick. Okay, I got you.
Play good cards. I think it's simple, right?
That's the argument, is what is a good card? Because you're an old card game player, right? You know that some cards you think are good, and then it turns out they're not as good as you think they might be,
I would just play whatever cards Azul told me were good. You look up what Azul's running, you look up what Tord's running, and you're like, this is a good card. And
this Zoroark GX guy, he's cracked the code here with this one,
I didn't have original thoughts in the TCG. I think the only time I had an original thought was the only TCG event I day 2'd, and it was literally it was a very just standard Reshazard deck, but I was like, oh, I want one more of this card and to take out this one instead, which was kind of not the way because you needed a consistency, but I was like, this leans better into my playstyle, and it was awesome, and I day 2'd, and then
so you gotta trust your gut.
Yeah. I got smacked day 2, but I made day 2, so that was cool.
That's all that matters. Yeah, for sure.
All right. All right, we want to talk about cool things. Enough about our boring lives.
Yeah.
There was a whole Nintendo Switch 2 Direct this morning, an hour-long presentation.
Oh yeah.
They're going into absolutely everything. So going into this, they already revealed a trailer presents before that showed the console, right? They've made a couple changes since then, etc. But this presentation had a lot more about the console, the games, how things are kind of going to work. So what were your initial thoughts going into this? I got a list of everything we could talk about here, but initial thoughts. Are you happy with the trailer overall? Or you're kind of
So, I would say overall I'm very happy. I think there's a lot of different things. Now, was there no Mario game, or was it just play the Switch Zelda games, play them on Switch 2 or whatever? Sure, fine. If someone wants to complain like that, whatever. I will let them. But when it comes to a hardware and a lot of the other things that they're implementing, especially how to obtain the Nintendo Switch 2, is a really exciting conversation we can get into. But overall, one of the best things I think Nintendo did was they were not secretive about a Nintendo Switch 2 being made, and they told us back in January that this Direct was gonna happen, so it gave people time. They showed off the Joy-Cons independently, which I think that helps. It helped people get used to the new design of things, because if you remember when Sony had their PS5 presentation, that was the first time they ever showed it, and it's a lot of information overwhelming the audience, and people are now complaining about the design and focusing on the design instead of what the PS5 can do, because nobody had ever seen it before. So Nintendo had already stricken that conversation out by showing this is what it looks like. You're going to get more information in a couple months on it, so everyone could set their expectations. I love that they did that from a marketing perspective, and all the stuff they added. It might seem like simple things, oh, whatever. We have Discord. Who cares? But now you have Discord on the Switch. Not everybody uses Discord, right?
Especially, I'm glad I wasn't the only one that saw how it looked and was like, "This is Discord."
Yeah, especially 9-year-olds, right? 9-year-olds who their cousin also has Mario Kart. you know, and like they want to play together. Like they're not using Discord. So just because you have access to something or you think something is more functional for you and your friend group to use doesn't mean that Nintendo shouldn't try to be expecting or trying to help all different types of gamers out. So I love their presentation. I love like the visual design, like they showed the square, like, oh, this is how big it used to be, and now it's this, and they showed the cooling fan and like everything about it. The games were cool. It was a little confusing on like if stuff is a launch title or if stuff is just a Switch game that's being ported over to the Switch 2. Like sometimes they were honest, like this is a Switch 2 exclusive, and other times they were just like, this game exists in the Switch ecosystem, you know? So overall, I do think it was really exciting, and by them like already pseudo revealing it, they got rid of a lot of the anxiousness of waiting for a reveal. So it was just all just positive, fun information for me.
I definitely, overall, with a lot of the ideas that they're bringing to the Switch 2, I'm content with. I do have concerns when we're looking at logistics of the game upgrades, paying for that.
Sure.
The cost of stuff in general. I also have thoughts about like their anti-scalper process, positive and negative thoughts. Like there's a lot here, but we're going to go through the different things first and talk about it kind of one by one. First off, like the first thing, when they initially showed the Switch 2, there was no little C button on the right side of it. And they updated their assets a couple of days before the Nintendo 2 Direct and added it. And then they went into more depth about it. That is that Discord chat that we were talking, Joe Brown had mentioned. So that is so cool. I have to say, like, that I think alone makes the Nintendo 2 Presents for me, and I think is like what I'm most excited about with the feature. Because yeah, like I'll sit here and game over Discord, but also when I'm gaming over Discord, sometimes like me and my friends, we are screen sharing, but not everyone can share their screens, right? And then that's an issue. I had even tweeted out shortly before we started the podcast, I think the screen sharing feature is like one of the coolest things. And I had tweeted out, I'll advertise my own tweet here. Ha ha ha. Follow me on Twitter here, guys. Let me find it.
I have it up. I can't believe I have yours. I have your tweet before you do. No, you're good. You're good.
I got it. But yeah, the fact that for grassroots tournaments, you've needed a capture card or anything else, which means sometimes there's matches that can't be streamed. Team tours, you're only sometimes can show the same players. With the screen share, you can just share your screen to someone who has a capture card. Ta-da! They can like record that footage, stream that footage for you. So I think that is just like a great a great thing for the game overall. I think in terms of what can be done with all of these features, this is just tip of the iceberg. But this was like the thing that I was most like, oh my goodness about from the get-go. So that's super, super cool. I also do think just like the voice features and being able to chat with your friends is really cool from there. Like you mentioned, not everyone has Discord. And like my younger sister, like who games sometimes, doesn't use Discord. Like my mom is a huge Nintendo Switch player. Like she got Mario Party Jamboree before I do. She's actually beaten both Scarlet and Violet. I don't think I've beaten Violet yet. I have Violet, but like, and I had both copies because I was given my copies. Whereas for her, I think I gave her one and she had my dad buy her the other after she had had beaten Violet. And then she was still like, hey, like, husband, I want you to buy me the other one so I can beat this. And like does like her Animal Crossing Island is nuts. Like she games on her Switch literally more than I do. And I like, this is my job. So she is not someone who has Discord. She doesn't have a computer. Like she would absolutely never. But the fact that I could actually then like call her and game with her, see what she's up to for her games, I just think is really, really cool. Even like my other sister, same thing. She plays her Switch a lot. Like I think that there's a lot more utility than just like with like our demographic. Obviously, we're like the people that are online all the time and live by Discord. I don't text people. I Discord people, right? But this just brings so many more options out. And with all the screen sharing, I think it's really, really cool. I think the camera is an interesting... So
it's like kind of like a Zoom thing where it green screens your background out, right? Or was that just for the video?
No,
like,
it can do that. It can do that. Yeah. So you can have it like set as normal, or you can have it so like people can see your gameplay behind you. And then like for games like Mario Party, that can be added. So I think the concept of it is cool. I think the execution of it is kind of creepy. I don't like when they showed like the Mario Party footage and there was like the wheel of like, hey, can it be on like this person or not? And everyone's just like, I was just like, I don't know, like these aren't very engaging faces, right? And like I don't want to sit there like on call with like my face just being judged for an hour, like showing up next to things. Like I don't know, like it's weird for me, and I'm someone who like is on camera for a living.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
I think the missing piece that we have from the camera aspect is, can you stream from the Switch? Because you can stream from a PS4 or a PS5. That's how a lot of people who don't have OBS and don't have big PC setups and play like a lot of, it's very popular in fighting games to stream straight from your PS5 because that's all you have, right? In that community, is it possible? Stuff like that. Right? Is it possible to stream to Twitch from the Switch 2? And if that is massive for the growth of their audiences, because now you don't have to have a fancy dancy PC to try to to build an audience. You can stream directly from the Switch.
Yeah, and like that is humongous. That's a really good point I didn't even think of. Like more
so
Sierra
I don't know
lore.
If you can. I'm just saying that's the first thing I thought of was like,
hopefully.
That would make it very accessible. And I do love the C button. It's so cool how like the essentially the callbacks, right, to prior consoles. Like they show, the GameCube. Well, what was on the GameCube controller? There was the C button, but C didn't stand for chat. C stood for camera, because that was how you moved a 3-dimensional camera with the C button. So it's so cool that 25 years later, we're like reinventing the definition of what a C button is. And it's also because nobody calls it that, because like in Smash you use the C button for your smash attacks, but like, well, I'm using the camera for my smash. Like nobody ever like thought of it that way, but like we're reinventing the definitions with the same like a new use for it. I think that was really cool. My other thing, the biggest surprise to me was not Donkey Kong, was not Kirby Air Riders.
I don't want to move on from
No, I know. I'm talking at the beginning. What's the biggest surprise to me was the release date. In that little video when they showed June, I thought this was going to be like November 20th or something. I literally screamed in my bed when they said it was in June. I'm like, it's April, Sierra. It's literally almost here.
I'm still trying to talk about the camera and stuff, and I had a point to make.
Oh, go ahead,
and you're like, I'm going 5 points later. Screw you.
It was in the intro thing.
It was not in the intro. We can do it. There's a list. I got a list of the things.
All right. Go to your list. I thought it was in the beginning. I'm sorry. I misremembered. I thought it was like the 3 dudes were standing there. They're like, here's our cool new thing. It's got magnets on it. How do magnets work, No,
they brought it out like a third through the episode.
Oh,
I think they brought it out after. And how dare you?
I was so hyped for it. I thought it was like very early on. I apologize.
We have like still another hour to fill for this podcast episode. We cannot just list every single thing that happened in this direct and then call it a day. This will be a 20-minute episode, all right? the people want to hear us yap excessively about each thing at a time, okay?
I'm very, very willing to yap about this because I'm very excited. But go back to the camera.
Yeah. So one thing that I wanted to say about the camera, because I think going back to your point of like, if this can stream to like Twitch, etc., YouTube, that's a big thing. Like, I think that is totally like just like underrated too, about how that can like kickstart somebody's career into the game. Like my very first streaming was from like a PlayStation with FIFA, from that little camera thing with no computer. That was I didn't stream Pokemon to start. I streamed FIFA. From that, right?
That's funny.
And then from there is when I got a computer, started going more, right? So I think if that is something that can actually happen, that would just be such a huge part of the Switch. And I really like that they're actually going like this sort of direction too, with bringing all those online features. Like, it'll be interesting to see if it is something that you have to be friends listed with, or if it's something that
probably, or you have to probably be friends with somebody in the group, right?
Because they also mentioned like parental controls to where you can make it so your kid can't really voice chat, which then why would it like matter too much if there isn't like free chat online,
Yeah. I just think the best part about this is like people will say, "Oh, well, we had chatting, we had the Nintendo Switch app, and blah blah blah." It's like it was a pain in the butt to use that app. It was you're using another app, you're using another device, and all this stuff, and it was just an absolute nuisance. So even though yes, we had chatting before, like, it is not the same thing. It is very much the ease of use is way better now. Or you just press the C button, and and now I can hang out with my friends, and I could be playing Zelda, and Sierra could be streaming her
the different game
her
thing
rank
too is
battles,
awesome.
and,
yeah,
right, and TJ could be playing Mario Party, and Gabby could be playing Kirby Air Riders, like, and we're all in the same call on the Switch. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I like too. They had mentioned that they were going to allow that, like, you need Nintendo Switch Online, you need that for like a lot of things, right? But they were making it so like that option was free to use until like 2026 May, which with the game release in June, that's almost a full year, which I think is actually really, really nice of them at that point. Like, I would like to maybe see the conversation shift to maybe they just allow that feature always for free if you already, like, I don't know, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But as you said, almost a full year, as you were very excited to get into, June 5th.
Unbelievable
release date.
Truly unbelievable. What were your thoughts? I've already expressed it. I could not believe it is coming this soon.
I was streaming last night and somebody had mentioned that it was planned for like a June or July release. So I don't know if they had seen that. I don't know if it was a leak. I don't know what. So like I wasn't necessarily the most surprised by that. I was surprised yesterday when they told me June or July release, because I was definitely like very soon.
Because consoles usually release in the fall. That's typically how it goes.
Definitely sooner rather than later is nice, especially to make sure that there is going to be a supply, because I'm sure they'll have another burst in sales come holiday time. But then might as well get the first burst of sales out now,
that's
right?
That's a good point, because like if they released it in the fall, it'd be hard for them to do like Black Friday sales if like that's their first release window, right? So like get a bunch of purchases in the summer, let it build up, let the FOMO build up, and then you can do Black Friday sales and stuff.
And they could actually like build up inventory, so then come holiday time, like that'll be like the most popular time, right? June 5th, I know some people were like, oh, hopefully not NAIC weekend. It'll be the week before NAIC.
There we go.
Which is nice.
We could play Mario Kart before NAIC.
Yep. Probably a reminder to people, I don't know how the Switch dock compatibility works. Do not switch over. Like, this is actually something I foresee being an issue.
This is a great point, yes.
Do not, like, if you're competing at NAIC, do not switch over your Pokemon stuff onto the Switch 2.
Correct.
Just play your old Switch unless you have definitive 1,000% answer from the organizers is not an issue, because frankly, I foresee it being an issue. I don't know necessarily how the docks work. Backwards compatibility would be good. But obviously, if these are docks that are untested with the Switch 2, because like the organizers aren't going to be getting a Switch 2 earlier than June 5th to be able to test. Like, they don't have that power. Like, I'm willing to bet. So they're only going to be able to test from June 5th on. And it will be a week of like, is there issue? We don't know. We don't know over the course of a day. So just don't put your info onto the Switch 2 if you are planning to get it June 5th. You can wait till after NAIC. Actually, that's also then interesting for Worlds.
Maybe post Worlds. Yeah. That I didn't even think of that. That's a great point. Yeah. No, listen. All this is a VGC podcast. All our VGC listeners, do not upgrade your Scarlet and Violet copy. Do not transfer it to the Switch 2.
No,
because
1,000%.
I don't even know how the interact, like, not even just the dock part of it, but like, can your Switch 2 Violet copy battle someone on a Switch 1 in Scarlet and Violet? Like, right? Like a 3DS couldn't battle.
It has to.
But like a 3DS couldn't battle a DS, right? Like, so they had different hardware or whatever.
Even if the 3DS was running a DS game,
I don't think so. I thought it had. I don't know. I could be wrong there. I mean, I know that. I don't know.
I think like the docks would be the biggest issue. I don't think they really. No. Okay. So during the presentation, they had showed with the game share going back to older consoles, including even the Switch Lite, which sometimes isn't the most compatible with everything. And it was able to share games with all of those. There is no world in which you can share a game with the first iteration of the Switch and the Switch Lite, but not be able to battle somebody on Scarlet
See,
or
but
Violet from those.
the question is, this is Nintendo versus Game Freak. These are two different conversations, Sierra. They literally, the company that made Pokemon Home took 4 months to get Pokemon Home instituted into BDSP, the game that they made. So that's what we're having, two different conversations with what is Nintendo capable of and what is Game Freak capable of.
I think definitely NAIC will be interesting for those reasons, because I do foresee that potentially being an issue, especially if the docs don't work. If the docs work, then I think that hopefully this should be okay, but they'll be like untested. You don't know if there's going to be any compatibility issues, and if the docs don't work, like they didn't say anything in the thing about the docs being compatible with either version. I think they totally skipped over that, which makes me think it doesn't work.
Completely different. Like, not just obviously because the screen is bigger or whatever, so the doc's going to be a little bigger. Like, it just looks different. So I think maybe TBCI comes out at some point and says, like, you know, VGC players do not update, like, play through Worlds at least, because it's also not fair to, like, some dude that gets his Worlds invite and then, like, oh my god, like, let's say he gets top 8 at NAIC, he gets his Worlds invite, oh, I'm so excited, and then the only way he can play at Worlds is if he buys a Switch 2 or something like that.
No,
like,
they'll never update, like, the docs to be Switch 2 2 months after.
Yeah. So I think at least through Worlds, maybe post Worlds is a different conversation, but through Worlds, I would imagine they would say, like, must be on Switch 1 hardware or something like that, just for accessibility purposes.
Yeah, because, like, I don't know how much, like, the docs that are used at the events, they're obviously a little bit different, because can't you dock a Switch Lite on those? Which you can't do with a regular dock. So I
haven't faced anyone with a Switch Lite when I've been at an event, so I'm just not sure.
Yeah, because I'm not sure the logistics of it, but I think the Switch Lite can dock. Because, like, you can compete off a Switch Lite. There's always issues with it, but, like, there has been broadcasted matches with somebody with a Switch Lite. There's always, like, an extra step or two, but it's possible. So, yeah, that'll be that'll be an interesting one for NAIC organizers.
For an OHKO down the road, you know?
Oh, that's also a big backroom conversation of those organizing, like, NAIC just being like, oh, shoot. Because, like, docs are actually a huge issue in VGC.
Well,
if people remember, like...
Yeah,
like, there has been events where the capacity has limited because of how many or how few docs there was. Or even, like, Worlds, like, the first conversation of, like, that was the first Worlds that didn't have an open. And the conversation was, we don't have the docs, simply put. So,
and then all the docs were stuck in Japan when Pittsburgh was happening, and we couldn't get them back. Yeah, so we didn't get them back till Peoria. Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of logistics issues. So, that's all right. That was a side tangent I didn't realize we'd be having, but that's going to be really interesting to see how that turns out. No. Why you apologize? It's a really good point for a game. Like, this is a VGC podcast. I actually just I didn't. There was a couple things I had on my mind coming into the podcast where this could be problematic. That was not one of them that I even realized at first. So
there's smart people over there. I'm sure they figure this out. I'm sure TBCI is already have a plan in place. It's just waiting. They had to wait till Switch 2 gets revealed, right? They couldn't tell us beforehand. So I'm sure they'll tell us at some point before.
I don't think the VGC competitive circuit is the first thing on their list.
No, I know. I'm just saying they're right there. They're next door to Nintendo. Like, they know something's been happening. They know what's going on. So I'm sure they have a plan. They'll tell us eventually.
All right. Well, June 5th release date. It'll be interesting how many of these consoles even go out. First off, the price point of these. It is a good chunk of money. I think it was $450 USD. 500 if you get the one that's bundled with the Mario Kart World online. We can talk a little bit about that.
Well, so the price is higher than we thought. Most people were going to say $399 because I think the original Switch was $299, and then you had the Zelda bundle with all the stuff. That's the one I got with, like, the Sheikah Slate and the poster and everything. But if you're looking at the value, if the base one's $450 and the one that comes with the bundle in it, with Mario World in it, is $500, like, you're kind of getting Mario, like, 30% off or whatever, right? Because these games cost $70 with the bundle. These games cost $70 now, so you're only spending $50 apparently. On it. What?
Yeah. Which, like, as Canadian, the games have always cost 80, which means now they're going to be like 100, 110. So
that's crazy. I thought it was 70. Oh my gosh,
Oh.
that's too much. But yeah, so I guess go for the bundle route, save some money.
Yeah, so definitely, if you want Mario Kart World, get the bundle. I do like that they are making sure you do save money. If you get the bundle, like that is at least nice. There is going to be pre-orders that open for the Switch, but this is where things get a little bit interesting with the pre-orders. So there's a little bit of conversation about this in the OHKO server. I'm going to pull up the screenshot as opposed to the website because this lays it out just a little bit easier for everyone.
Yes.
But they're taking measures to make sure that, unlike the whole PS5 fiasco, that people who actually want a system to game on are the ones that get to pre-order this. So there's a couple of different criterias. You have to have been a Nintendo Switch Online member for at least 2 years by literally like 3 days ago. So it's not you can get one earlier. Like, they're trying to reward people who have had a Switch for a long time. They're also looking for people who have played more games, with also opting in to share their usage information to know that the games have been played. I normally don't share my information, so also receiving email messages from Nintendo, which like you need to do to get like the invitation.
You might want to just switch that setting for about 3 days and turn the usage on and get your shipping in, and then turn your usage off after.
Yeah. So obviously, this is a very anti-scalper method. Scalpers are literally just ruining everything good right now. If you're a scalper and you're listening to this podcast, I do not like you. I do not respect you. Like, it's ruining everything. It's ruining the card game. It ruins every single game launch. It's terrible. So they're taking measures to be preventing that. And I love that they're taking a measure. I have a lot of issues with the execution of it. First off, family memberships, only the person who purchases the membership will be eligible. As I spoke about earlier, everyone in my family games. Like, why are they advertising this family membership so we can all game together? We have a family membership. I am not the owner.
So I can attest to it the other way around. I am the owner of my family membership. And my family membership, like, I don't tell Nintendo, it's not my immediate family. It is a group of friends that you can have 8 people under the same family membership. And yes, one of them is my brother, so he is technically family, but we have like 4 people through the family membership, and so I'm the only person that is eligible for this. It's like you're kind of punishing people for using your system. Like you said, go in together with your family and all get the and get the Nintendo Switch Online. Oh, but also only the breadwinner has access to this. It's like,
so
that's not fair.
So right away, I am not eligible to get the Switch 2. Despite the fact that I play my Switch every single day, I stream the game, Pokémon Commentator, all this stuff, I cannot pre-order a Switch 2. And that means then I have to ask my mother to get it. But that means she can no longer get the Switch 2.
Yeah.
And then this is then like my circumstance. So I'm getting punished as someone who plays the game how they're intending, right?
Yep.
And then that doesn't even start to cover anyone who wants to get into the Nintendo family. Of course, you don't just want to appeal to your old existing customers. What if there's a parent out there that is like, oh, like my kid was too young for the original Switch, but is now old enough. There's a Switch 2 coming out. Oh my gosh, they would love Mario Kart World. Like, this seems so cool. They want to get one for their kid before the holiday season. Like, there's a long time between June and holiday. Like, parents don't just buy stuff for their kids during the holidays, They also cannot pre-order because they have not been in the Nintendo Switch family. Also, for at least 2 years, that means you can have had a Switch for 1.5 years and been like online member and you're not eligible. You could have had a Nintendo Switch since the day it came out and played offline games, so you don't have a Nintendo Switch Online membership and you are not eligible. Like, there's so many little issues with that sure, it's great because like scalpers can't get a hold of it. I've already seen people be like, I tried to pre-purchase a Nintendo Switch Online for 2 years and it wouldn't let me. So like, I can't get one, and it's
Oh
like,
my God,
good.
Scummers.
Like, I don't want you to get one,
Yeah, there
but
is no perfect system, right? So if
yeah,
they made it, you only needed to have Nintendo Switch Online for 3 months. Then some guy who had it for 2 months would complain about it, right? Or if you needed to do this, someone else would find some other reason to be upset about it. So there's no perfect system. While I definitely agree with you, especially from the family aspect, I think that's really heartbreaking that you are literally getting punished for using their systems as advertised, of using it as a family.
My bad. I got my family to play the Switch games.
My bad. I did what you told me to, and put my whole family into the same network. I think they understand that this is not the only way to get. This is to order it directly from the Nintendo. It's not like you're going to GameStop or Walmart. So like scalpers can still have at it, have their fun at GameStop, have their fun at Walmart, and breaking Best Buy's website the minute it goes live. And
lining up outside and throwing fists with anyone who just wants to get one for the kids. Like,
right. Oh my God, could you imagine if they made a Switch with like cards, like a card bundle in it? It's just actually would be World War III at Costco for sure. But
oh my God, yeah.
It is. I think it is better than nothing, which is what Sony did. So we have to at least give credit where credit's due.
Like I said, appreciate they're doing something, but I think, yeah, this leaves a lot of people out. And like, as someone who is on the outside, and obviously not the only one who is, like, I even saw like Bossy like posts about it. Like, yeah, I'm not the parent figure on the online family membership. So I don't know. Oh well. Like I said, appreciate they're doing something. I think this could have cooked a little bit more, but
I do think maybe the saving grace, Sierra, one is we're going to be busy this summer, right? We got New Orleans the week after preparation. We got Worlds in Anaheim. There's some things going on, at least. So from our selfish perspective, if we can't get the Switch right away, is it really does feel like, okay, it's Mario Kart World and and some bench warmers here at the beginning of the launch. Like I think there was one big game coming out in July, but overall it wasn't like there was like Metroid Prime 4 wasn't a release title, there wasn't a new Mario, there wasn't a new Zelda. So like worst comes to worst, get through the summer, celebrate Worlds, have fun at NASD and Worlds, and get to the fall weather, wait for that Black Friday drop, and then by then we're gonna have Legend ZA. Maybe Can I skip ahead? Can I skip ahead to Legend ZA?
We'll talk about titles. We'll talk about titles. So go for it. Okay. All your heart's content.
I think, one, we already knew people who still think we're playing VGC on Legend ZA. It's like, well, we didn't play it on Arceus, so I don't know why you would think that. And two, this is even more of it because it is a Switch and a Switch 2 title. So how are you going to balance who gets which copy of it and what you're going to play on it or whatever? So if you just wait till the fall, wait till a restock, maybe there's going to be a Legend ZA Switch 2 version with cool artwork or something on it.
That actually was a thought. My original thought was getting a Switch 2 on release and then like selling it for a reduced price near the holiday times. I love buying used consoles. There's going to be like a parent out there that's like, oh hell yeah, $100 off of this Switch that's been taken care of like meticulously. Okay, so I was just gonna do that if Legend ZA came out, but it is a good point about like not too many things coming out on release. I think that is
because it's different. Like Breath of the Wild was the release title, right? So you're like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing Nintendo's done since sliced bread. Like this, I need to get this on March 3rd. And you play it. Now, like, I love Mario Kart, so I 100%, like, I put over 300 hours into Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. Like, I've maxed out my rank. Like, I absolutely love Mario Kart, so I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna try to, at least I should say. This does throw a wrinkle into my Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering plans, because I was also gonna drop a bunch of money on that set in June. So sorry, Cloud and Tifa. Looks like Mario is taking my money instead of Magic.
I like Mario Kart, but not to that extent. So talk about the titles, because that was an interesting part of the presentation. So they announced a couple of game titles coming out just for the Switch 2, and then they also announced for their original Switch titles having an upgrade pack. What is on those upgrade packs varies between just graphic updates whether they're going to include the camera or whether they include like a whole new story or mode. So, and they are paid. I have some thoughts about that because I don't think for some of those game modes that you're actually getting any value to where you should be paying to be able to see the game better on the Switch too. If it is just like a $5 thing, then like, I guess whatever. But I also like, I own a lot of Switch games. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've had games that I've bought. I've had games that have been given to me. I've
Well, but
gotten games as
are a
gifts.
lot of them
Like,
digital?
all of them are digital.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing because the new internal hardware has 256 gigabytes.
No, but not if I have to pay to get them better on the Switch too.
I think I would imagine most of the games, and I could be wrong here, but from what I was trying to understand, remember last week they had the Nintendo Direct with the kind of like you could move this game over to, you could transfer this game to another Switch for like 2 weeks or whatever. I don't know if you remember if you watched that Direct last week or not. Yeah. So like, I think there's going to be a lot of games on there. Like, let's say my copy of Shovel Knight, right? Or my copy of like, I don't know, some, random sports game or whatever. Like, I think that you're just going to be able to transfer because they said you can bring your digital games up. I don't think it's going to be every game is going to have an upgrade pack to it. Like some of them you'll just be able to transfer the data upward.
Yeah, not every game will have an upgrade pack, but I think some, like a lot of the games will have upgrade packs, even if it's just graphics.
Certainly the Nintendo ones will have one, for sure.
But like depending on how much these upgrade packs cost, like Mario Party, you can use the camera and then you get 2 game modes that kind of look mid. I'm not paying $30 to upgrade that when I paid, like I said, games are expensive in Canada when I already paid $80 for the game, right? It's not worth that, especially across multiple titles. I'd have to do that for, well, like let's say they didn't say it in the trailer or like the present, but what if like Scarlet and Violet is like a top candidate for something that can get just like simple as a graphics update?
For sure.
Are you going to make me pay $30 for that too? Like, is it a set cost? Now, do I have to do this for Mario Kart? Do I have to do this for every, like all these AAA title games?
It's per item. I don't know if it's 30. If it's 30, that's rough because it doesn't really, at that point you might as well just buy it.
I'm just paying to use my current games on their new system with tweaks.
I would hope that since Nintendo is pretty, I know it might sound actually more like consumer friendly as a company compared to some of the other gaming companies. Like look at the internet, right? Like the internet's like $1.25 a month or whatever is what I pay. Like for what was that, Pokemon Home, and then I think it's like $3 a month for the family system for Nintendo Switch Online or whatever, compared to freaking PSN, which is $70 a year, and there's also a $100 version and a $150 version, and there's certain games that are locked behind the $150 version and all that stuff. I would hope that these upgrades are, I don't know, $5, like on the low end, maybe if that's too optimistic, $10. Like,
$5, just give it to me for free.
No, I know, but they're trying. They got to make money every which way they can. Like,
dude, they're getting that off of their $400 system.
No, I know, but I'm saying I'm hoping, I am optimistic still until proven otherwise, which I can have egg on my face. Until proven otherwise, I would hope that these upgrades would be small prices to pay because, as you said, you already paid for the game once. It's not fair to force you to essentially pay for 1.5 times or something like that.
Like, do we not remember just like updating the game because like you just like want the consumer to have like a good experience? Like, I'm definitely all for like people making their money. Like, right? Like that's, the company's got to make their money. But the way I'm looking at it is I own a Switch system. I have spent money on all of these games. I have already spent that. I'm then now spending on top of however much I've spent on this, now spending another $450 to get the newest system. I have spent so much money. Just let me get a little bit better graphics on the game when I bought your new system to let me do that, right? Yeah. Like, I think realistically, who has to pay for these upgrades are the people who have been loyal Nintendo customers buying all their stuff to even upgrade in the first place, right? So then just like, let me have the free update. Like, nothing is too crazy do it out of good faith. And you know what's going to happen? I'm going to buy the new system. I'm going to upgrade all my games. I'm going to sit there and put more playtime in on the games. And then I'm going to buy the new stuff as it comes out. Like it creates just like a better, like, now I'm going to be like, do I really want to upgrade this game? Do I even care for this? Like, do I like, it just like, it creates like more negative sentiment. Like I might do it anyways, but like, I'm not happy about it. Right. And it's like,
I get what you're saying.
if it's only $5, well then, all right, you just kind of pissed off a customer for $5.
I think you make a great point like this. You make a great point, and the same thing we're kind of reiterating is that people are getting punished for being passionate and really giving Nintendo their money, like the same with the online issue for the pre-orders. And like, yes, if some guy just plays Zelda and his Switch is a Zelda machine and he's only spent $120 because he's bought 2 Zelda games, right? Or like, and then okay, fine, $5 to play Tears of the Kingdom on better graphics or whatever. Okay, that's not that bad. But like for the other people, like yourself, like me, like I have a lot of Switch games. Like if we're like that Zelda dude's only getting pinged for $5, but we're getting pinged for 5 on Zelda and 5 on Mario and 5 on Scarlet and 5 on Violet and 5 on everything else. So.
And that's to say if it's only $5, so that's already like 20,
Right.
$25. But all of a sudden, if that's actually $10, well then that's 50. All right, it's $15, or it just kind of scales from there, right?
Yeah, but it is better than what they used to do and what they maybe still do, because Nintendo was very, very easy to just port the old game system on the new console with no update and just force you to pay a new price on it. Like they did that with the Wii games. They put Tropical Freeze on the Wii U, and it was just like, here's the same game, and also it costs $20 more. So at least they're giving us new things in Jamboree or new things in other games to go with
one of those things that like since you can still play Switch games on the Switch too, they can't really do that as much. So they're just like, how can we squeeze any money out of these people who don't have to buy new games? So I'm not really necessarily a fan of that, but it is what it is. All right, for the games, as you said, there's not really too much released. I think the biggest thing for me, I already talked about Mario Kart World. They're including a GameCube library, which I have been...
Not just GameCube library. Did you see the games?
XD, Gale of Darkness.
And Coliseum.
Yeah, so I have been, every single Pokemon Presents, I have just been like, please put the older Pokemon games, and maybe they didn't put, like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, but I think this is wonderful. Get the GameCube games on there. I'm really hoping for Monkey Ball that they'll throw that on there, because the ones that they have for the Switch suck. I want Yeah, I did not enjoy them. It was not the same.
I didn't know that. I love the old Monkey Ball. I didn't play the new one. That's sad to hear.
Yeah, it's bad. Like I bought it to play over Christmas with my family, and like I have a GameCube exclusively for Monkey Ball. As a Pokemon fan, I have not even played Coliseum or Gale of Darkness on the GameCube. I only use it for Monkey Ball. And back when I lived in British Columbia and was closer to my family, I would take it to family get-togethers just to play Monkey Ball. And then so yeah, I bought it on the Switch so we could all play, and it was just not the same. So that kind of sucks. So I'd love to see if they do the older version on that. Gale of Darkness, Coliseum, I have not played those games. So that'll be exciting.
You should stream it.
Yeah, I'm going to when it comes out. So
just so we can see your reactions.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. I think I played just the beginning part of Coliseum. Like I didn't make it very far in, but yeah, I'm excited. So I think is a great thing. I would love to see them add a lot of games. There's a lot. GameCube is a great era of games, honestly.
So the other thing too. So this is, sorry, I'm going to go on my Metroid tangent here, because everyone knows Metroid, and I'm not even talking about Metroid Prime 4. But with the original Metroid Prime, right, that was on the GameCube. That was another banger that the GameCube had. And so, are they going to put Metroid Prime 1 in the GameCube Nintendo Switch Online thing? Or are they going to wait 6 months till after Metroid Prime 4 comes out, so then people can then go play the original? Because if you just give them access to the GameCube one, or people maybe just not going to buy 4, they're going to get their Metroid fix from the GameCube version. Yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting conversation.
I think wholeheartedly right now with the games that they've released, but then the announcement of the GameCube library, that would be the biggest reason I'd maybe want to buy off launch. That actually looks like better than anything that they announced.
And the value, I have that expansion pack thing. Now, I never I never played. I will forever hate myself because I got it not because of the Animal Crossing thing. I remember they had the exclusive Animal Crossing like
Oh yeah,
upgrade
like double
package
extra.
thing,
Yeah.
and like I wanted to do it, and I never did. And I'm sure my villagers hate me for never upgrading the town. So I'll always be upset for for buying the pack to play Animal Crossing, the exclusive content, and never playing it. But what I will say is I've gotten a lot of mileage out of the other stuff, like the N64 one, and like playing Pokemon Puzzle League on it, and like playing Zeldas, and you know, even the old Nintendo and Super Nintendo stuff. Like, so that price is really not that bad when you think about it. Like, yes, it is an additional, I believe it's an additional $50 total per year compared to the regular internet amount, which is like 28 or 30 or something for the year. So it is a hefty chunk of change there. However, you have to think about it. When you want, for example, I want to play the old Spyro the Dragon, right? Let me load up my PlayStation. Let me load my PSN. Okay, well, it's going to cost you $20 to download the old version. It's like, man, I want to play I want to play Final Fantasy 70, and I'm in the mood. Let me go on the PlayStation Network. Okay, that's going to cost you $15. At least you're paying the cost up front of every game. Like, you're not buying any of these old games. You have access to all of them. So you have Coliseum, XD, Mario Sunshine, like everything. And the value of buying those independently would be way more than $50. And you're getting GameCube, Super Nintendo, and it's NES, and the Game Boy. Like, freaking Fire Emblem's here. I don't know if you played Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, which I bought it 10 years ago for like $65 or like $70. It's literally like a $250 game right now from the collectors.
Oh my goodness.
Like, because of how valuable, like how big Fire Emblem has gotten, and you know how hard it is to get a copy of it. And that is in the GameCube. So that went from $250 to $50 now. Like, you could just play it with every other game. It's awesome.
Yeah, like in terms of like old prices, like it'd be so good. And like what I think is like I would love from the GameCube is like I have one now for exclusively Monkey Ball, but I never had one growing up. So like I would go to my friend's house, and a lot of these games that like I've maybe seen him play a little bit, or I've played a little bit, but I've never gotten to fully play. So like Super Mario Sunshine, I've never actually like played that. The old like Animal Crossing, obviously both of the Pokemon games.
Yep.
Like there is a lot of games that I've seen but have never actually gotten to play myself. So I think like that would be super cool. And like I have the GameCube, but I don't have those games.
Yep.
So going
and
through
all
and
cost
actually
$200 now.
Yeah, which makes it hard even having the system now as an adult to actually go back. So it would just be, oh my gosh, like I'm really hoping they like fully put like so much on this.
Bro, listen, I'm telling you right now, Sierra, I don't know what's going on in the world. I don't know when this is going to happen. But if you hit that start stream button and you are streaming Super Mario Sunshine, I will be sat in this chair for the entire duration just to see how you react to some of the ridiculous things and difficulties of Mario Sunshine, especially since you did not play it as a kid. I will be sat right here.
Oh my gosh, I forgot Mario Party 4, 5, 6, and 7. They got Mario Power Tennis. Like the older Mario parties,
yes,
clear.
Absolutely.
Modern day. I think Mario Party 3, if I'm recalling right, might be the greatest Mario Party of all time. I've not played them all, but like if that's the one where you get to have like a little pet along with you and then it beats up like everyone else's pets,
crazy
awesome.
You say that when Mario Party 2 exists, but go off, Queen. I got it.
Which one is it where like you get to have a pet wander around with you during Mario Party, and then if you meet somebody else, like your pet's like
I
beat
think
up
that
the
was
other pet.
that was a GameCube one. I don't know which one.
Was it a GameCube? I thought it was 3.
3 on the N64?
I thought so.
With pets? They had polygons for pets in the N64?
Dude, I don't know. It would have been 3, or it would have been one of the other ones. Like I don't know, but I remember playing it growing up.
I'm a 2 gamer personally.
Yeah, but I only ever played Mario like Party at like other people's house. What is Pokemon Box? Is it just a storage system? If that has compatibility.
Well, does that kind of compete
it's just
with
like a
Pokemon
box,
Home? Yeah, what is that? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm assuming they probably won't actually.
Is it for champions?
Like, it'd be too difficult. I don't know. Pokemon Channel.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my god! I'm just looking through like a thing of the games right now, like all the Resident Evils. Like I don't know, like there's
Is there Double
the
Dash
sky is
on
the
there?
limit. Oh my god, they have Shrek Smash and Crash Racing.
Okay, now you know what? I was gonna skip out on this generation, but now I'm in. They got
Yeah,
Shrek.
that looks awesome. All the SpongeBob's. Oh, Battle for Bikini Bottom. That's the one that
Goated
that one
SpongeBob game.
Shift speed runs, I believe, on Twitch.
That's a great
You've
game.
seen that, yeah.
I
Yeah,
played
all
the remaster of that one too.
Super Monkey Ball, Super Monkey Ball 2, Super Monkey Ball Adventure. Like, oh
We'll
my
text
gosh.
we'll text Sakurai when he's done making Kirby. Maybe he'll throw it on there.
I hope
Are you
so.
an air rider? Because my
I
Twitter has been crazy. These people for years, they're like the black and white truthers of like the people who like for 10 years and said, oh, black and white remake, black and like they just these Kirby air ride people never stopped, and this is their biggest day of all time.
Okay,
I'm happy
so
for them, but I don't know what's going on.
me either. So when they showed Kirby at the end, I actually thought that there is the potential of it being like a Super Smash Bros-esque thing.
Yeah,
They like to use Kirby in like their little trailers and stuff, right? So I saw that and I was like, like Nintendo, they're gonna announce like their next like Super Smash, they're gonna bring that out, that's gonna be their big thing. And then it was Kirby Air Rider, and I was like, so it's just Kirby Mario Kart? Like, oh, how original. We're really running out of ideas here, guys. And they're like, oh, this used to be a GameCube game and we're like redoing it. And it's like, okay, well, I guess it's not like
oh my god,
new
the
then,
angry
but
comments.
like,
Actually, Sierra Kirby
whatever.
Air Riders is very varied from Mario Kart.
Yeah, I was like, I've never heard of it. And I was just like, oh, okay, so it was an older thing that they're bringing back. And it's like, sucks. And then I opened Twitter and it's like, oh my god, Kirby Air Rider. Like, oh my god, the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm like, this is what we're forgetting about? Like, I just, like, I am not familiar. So, like, after this, I do need to go, like, look it up a little bit. Like, I'm intrigued. Like, there is diehard fans. I'm just like, is this a cult thing? Is it actually, like, well known? Like,
you know that tweet of, like, it's definitely a cult following, but that tweet, I think it was like Tyler the Creator or something. It was like, block me now. This is the only thing I'm going to be talking about for the next week or whatever. Like, that's what these air riders are doing on Twitter right now.
Yeah, it just looked like Mario Kart, but with less characters. Like,
well, what were your thoughts on Mario Kart? Like, in general, we didn't really talk about it.
Yeah.
Like it's cool. Like 24 in a race, and you can race from race to race instead of just having a loading screen. Like, you go to the next spot in the Grand Prix and stuff. Like, overall, I know you're not the biggest Mario Kart person, but like, does it entice you?
So I like Mario Kart person. Like, what I mean by not the biggest Mario Kart person is like, I'm not gonna buy the system just for Mario Kart.
Sure.
But I'm gonna get the system, and then I'm gonna get Mario Kart because I enjoy Mario Kart, right? Like, I played every single level in the DS. I tried to 100% it. I wasn't quite good enough to 100% it, but like, I tried. Yeah, I put my hours in. Mario Kart World, I think I have concerns. I think the ideas and concepts that they're bringing out are cool, but I'm wondering if it's overcomplicating what is a race around a track type game.
Sure.
To a point that it would then just be too different to where it's not enjoyable. Like, I'm looking at, okay, there's these extra little tricks you can do, all of this. You race to the next track. Like, I think I like the mode where it's like you have to go from here to here, but if you are like, if it needs top 16 and you're 17th, it kicks you out of the race.
That's
I think
cool.
that looks like a cool game mode. I'm really excited for that. But on the Grand Prix to race to the next race, I don't think I like that.
Then there's also the almost like GTA roleplay-esque mode of like just driving around on your carts with your friends, the free roam stuff where like other people are racing and you're just like you're like in the old Out of Bounds, right, where like Lakitu would pick you up and put you back in. Like, you're just riding around the Out of Bounds between maps. It's like, I think that's pretty cool. I think they're making it kind of open world Mario Kart, which I never thought would exist, but that's why it's called Mario Kart World, right? So I'm 100% in. I love Mario Kart. I'm all in on it. And the listen, what do we say? What's the best part about X and Y, Sierra? What's the best part?
Customization!
The customization. Did you see how cute Peach was in the different outfits?
Yes.
And Waluigi had a different outfit and everything. Like, they can microtransaction me to death if they're going to give me awesome Mario Kart outfits to wear on my bicycle.
How dare you make me pay $5 for better graphics and an alternative ending and more gameplay, but I will throw away my life savings
But
in a second
it's
for a
like
cute little hat for
it's
my
like
character.
how dare you force me to spend more money? But also Rosalina in pajamas, $5, yes please.
Yeah, that'll be like I definitely like okay, I want to go back to the free play thing. So
Sure.
I think
Yeah,
the free play is just like the biggest just like all right, gimme easy aspect. Like I don't know how to program games or anything else, but like everything's built out. I think it's just so easy to add that mode. I think that's going to be great for like speed running, optimizing races because there's not going to be a time
Ooh.
limit. So I think that's going to be really good for a subset of the community that I'm not necessarily in. Um what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, something that they advertise is you don't fully just race on the roads, but it's like an open world and you can kind of race
Make your own
wherever.
path. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that because it kind of goes back to are we stepping too far away from this is a racing game, you know?
It feels very breakable, right? Like
Yes.
it feels like there is, which maybe that's what they're going for. They want, I don't know, maybe they want some viral clip of some guy beating a map in 30 seconds that usually takes 2 minutes, like, you know, like the old Rainbow Road stuff on the N64, right? Maybe that's what they're going for, but you know, I like the structure of the maps. I like knowing where the secrets are and where the shortcuts are, and if it's worth it to take the risk on that shortcut or play it safer and stuff. So
I right now I'm just kind of like skeptical of some of the things, but I do think some of the things that are offered are like cool. So I'm definitely like I still am like overall like okay, but I definitely think that maybe just the core racing mode might be a little falling flat. Can we talk about I think like the biggest fall flat thing in terms of games from
oh,
this trailer?
tell me.
The Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour game. Dude, first off,
They should
I'm
pay
like,
me. I shouldn't pay them.
dude, all right. So I'm watching it and it's like, okay, like a free little tutorial on like knowing your Nintendo Switch system better. I feel like this is kind of not really necessary, but like whatever. Then they say it's a paid game to tell you that there's magnets, which is the same thing it says anywhere else. Are you kidding me? Like this
Unfortunately, this
like
is
what
just
is this?
this is just developers and companies, you know, having to make something to justify their own existence sometimes. There's probably some department at Nintendo that was under, like, we have to make a mechanics game the way that 1-2 Switch was, right? To show you the mechanics of how Joy-Cons work and whatever. And not because it's going to make money or not because it's a good game, but because we have to. And yeah, the same way as 1-2 Switch was terrible and, you know, and basically anything that wasn't Zelda on launch day was atrocious on Switch One. Like just buy Mario Kart World and never open the other the other game.
Dude, I just like again, like first off, even as a free game, I kind of low-key think is a waste of time that
I
they
agree.
made it. But like that's my own personal thought. But it's like, you know what, again, if you want to have a free game to advertise your game and like your system and like this is all the cool things even more, that's fine. But like the second they said that it was a paid game, like I just burst out laughing. Like I cannot believe that they have the audacity to be like, here is going to be this tiny little short thing explaining things about the system that you see on the website, any press release, anywhere else, and we're going to make you pay for it.
Yeah, that's the most Nintendo thing I've ever seen in my life. Honestly.
So dumb, so dumb.
Ugh.
But all right, so yeah. Other games coming out like they have like yeah, like there's nothing too much that interested me. There's Hitman that's coming out.
Were you teased or did you feel teased at the end when they like, okay, we're gonna reveal this. Oh, it's the new Dark Souls game, or it's Switch 2. Okay, cool. Oh, we're gonna reveal this. This is a big thing, and then like, okay, see you later, and it fades and starts another trailer. One, did you think that was a new Mario game? Because I sure as hell did. I thought as soon as we fade in and we see the colorful world and different locations and you know different like there's names for the locations and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, it's a new Mario Odyssey or a new 3D Mario, and then it starts breaking through, and you're like, oh my god, what's it gonna be? New Mario, let's go. Donkey Kong. Like, I was not expecting that at all. What were your thoughts on Donkey Kong Bonanza?
So right away I was kind of like, okay, well this is going to be like one of like the bigger titles because like the graphics and stuff, it looks like pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But I actually didn't like get kind of like, oh, what is it or anything else at first. Like I was just kind of like, oh, but like I didn't actually have any thoughts. So then when it was Donkey Kong, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like I wasn't baited at all by it. So I'm sorry that you thought it was a new like Odyssey or something. And yeah, I feel like they missed out by not maybe doing something like that for the Switch on release. Cause like, again, between like the Mario Kart and the Donkey Kong, which are like the only two like huge Nintendo-esque titles that are coming to this game right away. Like, there's not really much of huge titles. Like,
right, because not even Metroid is a launch title, so it doesn't even count. Yeah.
If they did like a Mario Odyssey sequel for launch,
but I mean,
that has gone crazy.
It is a bummer.
I've never played it, by the way.
Because like, listen, if someone asked me $1 million, has Sierra played Mario Odyssey? I would easiest $1 million I ever made in my life. I would have guessed there. It is just surprising. I'm not like, I don't want to be upset at Donkey Kong. He's my boy. You know, we got a long history, me and Donkey Kong. It's just like there's a precedent that's been set. GameCube had Mario Sunshine. Wii had Mario Galaxy. Switch had Mario Odyssey. Like, there is a new 3D Mario with the new console, right? And that's just the bummer that, like, I'm kind of holding a grudge against Donkey Kong because he's not Mario. And that's not fair to Donkey Kong, because the game does look fun. And I'm definitely going to play it because I love platformers. Like, outside of JRPGs, platformers are my second favorite genre. So I'm going to give Donkey Kong Bonanza, you know, his due time. I wish he was Mario.
I'm wondering if, like, especially with the Switch 2 being released kind of sooner than maybe expected, if maybe it is something for some sort of big Mario title that they're going to relook at for holiday to make sure that they crush holiday sales, because I think that's like the most important part necessarily when you're looking at their release. So maybe they're just saving it.
The other thing is, shouldn't next year be the 40th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers? So maybe that's what they're saving. I could be wrong if it was 85 or 86. Because if it was already this year, then they missed out on it. But
there's no way that it was this year. It has to be next year, because like it would have been
that's what they're saving
everywhere. Maybe. So I definitely think like holiday, like once we get closer to there, some of the more titles will come out. And then if it is next year 40th anniversary, then it'd absolutely have to be. Actually, I kind of forgot about this game for half a second, and it's the one game that I am optimistic for. I don't know too much about it, but there was a game, Split Fiction.
Yes,
that they advertised being like it takes two, which that game was awesome. I played the others like Split games since then, and I didn't like them really at all. I think It Takes Two is like kind of really special in a way, but I'm hopeful with this Split Fiction that it could maybe kind of bring some sort of It Takes Two passion back. So I am excited for that one. I think that there is not enough games that kind of offer that. That sort of game just does so well. Like, it just plays so nicely, right? I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's that guy's wheelhouse. That all of his games are multiplayer, multicam, but like single, you know, two people playing at once and two different cameras, two different controls, and it's very unique. And I give them credit, that studio, for always making fun games like that. And I've heard good things about Split Fiction. So if you did like It Takes Two, I would imagine. I think maybe this one, it's different because like It Takes Two is very like relationship based, right? Where they're like, play with your spouse, play with your loved one or whatever, and you'll feel they're going through. But like it says, at least in the trailer, I never played it, but in the trailer for Split Fiction, it's these two are friends that are like both novelists together or something. So maybe it's easier to play with friends. It's not, who knows if it's as romantically involved as It Takes Two was. Maybe it's just more about friendship. So I'd give it a shot for sure.
I definitely think for It Takes Two, like, it was kind of like advertised as that, but I don't think it like had to be that. I think it was very just like, it was fun to play in that aspect, but it was also a game that, again, if you're just like playing through the story, even if you are just like playing with a friend, whoever, like it's still like you're invested in the story of the characters because it's not like you have to like RP the characters and like pretend or
Right. Yeah,
anything or
you
like
don't
make
have
up
to be
the
a married
story.
couple to play.
Yeah.
Me and Zoinks could have played the game together and still had
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you would enjoy it just as much because you're like invested. They do a really good job at like bringing the character story and like they have the little voice lines throughout. Like you get to know the characters really well, and then it's like I think they did a really really good job with like the emotional aspect of that game through the story, and then even other things you did in the game. So that's kind of one of those things where with Split Fiction as friends, I'm curious like there I mean, I have trust in the developers that they'll be able to figure out a good story with things, but I'm curious where that story building and stuff will come from because I think if they don't hit that as well, like that was something that was really good about It Takes Two that I
Yeah.
think that they kind of need.
Yeah, like I said, I think those are cool games. I never played them, but I'm sure that'll be fun. And hey, you don't have to pay for an upgrade if you haven't bought it yet. Just wait till you get the Switch 2. You can pay for it one time.
Wait, I thought Split Fiction was a Switch 2 game. Is it already out?
I think it exists on other consoles, right?
Is it? I've never heard of it.
I'm looking at it right now because I've seen him. He's always at the Game Awards. Split Fiction release date March 6, 2025. So it's literally just coming.
Oh, just came out
on other consoles. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that after the podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else about the Switch 2? As I said, I do have a hard out time, and we still like there's so much this week. Like we haven't even like talked about like the actual VGC news.
So last thing I'll say, one, I love the Hyrule Warrior games. Those Dynasty Warrior hack and slash, kill thousands of enemies. I played the first two Hyrule Warrior games, absolutely love it. So I'm excited for Age of Imprisonment. I would like to see what happens. Good luck trying to sell a Zelda game without Link in it, because this takes place without Link in the past with Zelda and the Hylian people, whatever their names were, I forget, from Tears of the Kingdom. So like, that's a challenge, trying to sell a Zelda game without Link, and maybe there'll be some big storyline that lets Link, you can play Link, because whatever, it's a Hyrule Warriors game. It's like you just hack and slash. Doesn't actually matter. It's fun. Except for that. Did you watch this the stream? Because you didn't watch the live stream, you just watched the YouTube video. So in the YouTube video, was there like a massive lag for like 4 minutes where it was frozen on just one still image, or no?
No.
Because that's what happened. Okay, let me fill you in really quickly on it.
Okay,
what happened in the live stream, there was literally like 800,000 people watching at least when I looked at it on the live stream, and the chat was going crazy, and they were getting into like the kind of a little rapid fire section of a bunch of games like Sid Meier's Civilization 7 and the other 2K and like some of these other indie games and stuff, right? And they're like kind of rapid fire going through it, but it froze on an image of like just some random indie game for like a minute and a half. And the audio kept going. So they were revealing new games like Cyberpunk 2077 got revealed on the Switch too, under a still frame of an indie game that was frozen. So like the huge reveal got completely ruined with the live stream. And then I swear to God, they literally rolled back the video, but not the audio. So we re-saw them announce Sid Meier's Civilization 7 and WWE 2K and NBA 2K and these indie games, and the audio kept going. So it got this, and it's just like 4 minutes of nonsense, and then it caught up. So
oh my gosh.
Everybody in the chat was going crazy.
YouTube video, flawless, no issues.
Flawless. That's how I recommend it.
I got to watch the news and everything as they intended. Actually forgot about Switch 2. This is the last thing I wanted to bring up about this.
Then we can move on.
Yeah. First off, the fact that they actually have a USB-C port on the top, amazing.
Awesome.
Great. They
Absolutely.
just have 2 ports. Awesome.
For us
Great
traveling,
change.
I'll play my Switch on the plane way more now that it's on the top than on the bottom, because it was just a pain in the butt on the bottom.
So nice. So nice. Also like the local play, like if you are like traveling, you don't have to just play Mario Kart off of like one Switch and you guys have your little things. You can actually each play off your own Switch. Awesome. Love that. Third, obviously there's been a lot of talks about the Joy-Cons with the magnetic thing. That is not any new news. The new news that they came out with is that you could like put it down like on a table and like use it as like a mouse. And
yes, that like wheelchair basketball game.
So, like, my biggest question is does it need to be down on a hard surface to use? Because, like, if, like,
Because you're going to be grinding the metal on your table, like,
yeah.
continually.
And, like, what if, like, I'm playing the game and it's docked, I'm playing the game on my TV, but I'm sitting in bed, which is a very common situation.
Yes.
Or when I play the game with my family, like, I'm sitting there on the couch. Like, cousins are sitting on the floor, my mom's sitting on her chair,
You're just gonna
right?
whack your cousin in the head every time.
Yeah, and like a game, yeah, and like a game that's like, we're very competitive in my family. Let me tell you.
I believe it. Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, but I'm like the game, like the basketball one when you guys are in like the wheelchairs. Like, I guess like if that's how the game is designed, it makes sense. But like even for Mario Party, they were like, oh, with the upgrade, this mouse feature is something that's going to be used. For Civ 7, they were like, yeah, we have so much more options with this mouse function because this is like how it's going to be used.
Because it's way better on a PC Civilization. So
yeah.
But
like, again, that brings up, do I now need to be sat at my PC or at a table to use this mouse feature, which then completely eliminates where I can play some of these games?
My thoughts is that it's like a either or, especially the wheelchair basketball game. Like that one, you can't just force me to be chugging along the whole time. Like you have to have traditional controls for that. Let me just hit up on my pro controller my new pro controller that you're selling me. You know what I mean? Like let me just hit up on this one and move forward, so I don't have to be moving my wheelchair around. So I would imagine they would have both versions of it. You probably have traditional controls for when you're sitting in bed, you're hanging out, playing, shooting some threes in bed, and when it's, in docked mode or whatever. That's what I would imagine.
So, because they didn't really fully address it. They're just like, it's a mouse and it's cool, and look at all these times that are getting a mouse, and it's like, all right, well, this especially for Mario Party, when if the whole thing they advertise with Mario Party is like, play with your friends, play with your family. You're all sitting on the couches and you're all getting too competitive over Mario Party. Someone throws something. Like, you're not sitting there a desks in front of you and the traditional what they're selling. When they showed the little thing at the beginning with the 4 people playing Mario Party, they weren't sitting at desks, right? So that'll be interesting. Hopefully they do actually have multiple ways. And then, the whole metal up against the table, that also just
yeah.
All right. I don't think this is going to be good for the controller or my table. Thank you.
Or your cousin. Or
my cousin, right? Unreal. But all right. Anything else about the Switch 2 before big VGC news?
I do I think overall I'm excited. You're excited. Hopefully we can get it. If not, it's not the end of the world, because for us specifically, we don't have Pokemon until the fall, and hopefully Restocks will let us get it. I do think it is weird that Donkey Kong's releasing a month in instead of at the launch.
I feel
like just literally
there must have been an issue.
There must be some issue with it. And I am interested to see how many games are going to be like the Breath of the Wild effect that was Switch and Wii U. Like how many games are going to be Switch and Switch 2? Like they've said Metroid Prime 4 is going to have both versions of it.
Legends EA
is going to have both versions. And how quickly will they transition to just a Switch 2 version? That's what I'm interested in.
I think any releases starting 2026 after holiday season. I think they'll do announcement for stuff later on, closer to holiday season, and it's all going to be exclusive Switch 2, and we're going to hit the 2026 year.
Yeah.
With switching over. I think that'd be it. But it's crazy that there is news so big that it takes an hour and a half into the episode to bring up we know our world's format. Regulation I has finally been announced, and big surprise, it's going to be a double restricted format. Shock. I mean, I thought it was so obvious, but the amount of times where I thought a format would be so obvious and they have done something completely different, you never fully know, right? Know. They could have, there's still the whole conversation of what is the 2026 season going to look like? What is Worlds? And they do specifically based off trends, to try and save GS Cup formats for Worlds, and especially kind of more so near the tail end. I think Sword and Shield, they saved GS until it was the final World on Sword and Shield. When they could have done GS a year,
sure.
they kind of format in that way. So that one was obviously weird because COVID like switched around to things. But yeah, now we got GS Cup officially. Thoughts?
I think it's good to have the official confirmation. Obviously, people like I saw like Jody was already practicing with his streams and stuff even before it was announced, and there's been a lot of discords of people that are trying to get ready because it's not just Atlanta obviously is still Reg G, but going forward that would mean Milwaukee in May is going to be Reg I, right, as the first event that weekend of May. So people, if you're not going to Atlanta, you're going to Milwaukee, you might as well start practicing that format now. I do think it is fitting that like Reg I, Reg I, it's all about me. There's no I in team, but like these are the most selfish Pokemon in the game, like where you have to revolve your whole team around them. I think it's just funny how that worked out. It's a little cute little thing. I've always stood by the opinion, Sierra, that GS Cup formats are very fun to commentate, but very stressful to play. And I would like to see how this plays out because there's a lot of big hits, there's a lot of one-hit KOs, there's a lot of really cool animations on the legendary Pokemon. So from a viewer perspective and a commentary perspective, there's a lot of fun I'm looking forward to and I'm excited for. All the wide guard and mind games that we're going to have from Zamazenta and Lunala now that they don't have to be your only legendary on the team, so you can actually run wide guard support for Glacial Lance and Astral Barrage and Water Spout and Precipice Blades and all of these huge spread attacks. Overall I'm excited for it, but yeah, we'll see if it is broken because this is our first time seeing not just Miraidon, like, oh, Miraidon's strong, it's really strong. Okay, well, does Miraidon make another restricted also like unbearably strong with it at the same time? We'll find out.
Yeah, I'm glad to finally know the format. I definitely just like to know rather than not. And like with Reg G, like a little bit of Reg G burnout, right? So I'm glad to know the format, especially since I'm looking at competing at an event that would be within Reg I. So I want to like actually like, oh my gosh, I want to learn and stuff. I played a little bit and my first impression was like, I do not like this power level. Like it's you kind of get a lead wrong, you kind of get a turn wrong, and you're kind of just cooked, which like don't get me wrong, like Reg G, like it's just like it can be a little matchup roulette in my opinion. And it's the same if you get a lead wrong, etc. They're restricted can just body you. Now there's two options that can do that. And already with the teams, I haven't gotten to check out. Like I know Underhill, Jody, like there's been a lot of people who have been streaming Reg I and team building, and I haven't had an opportunity yet to go see what they're cooking up. But I was looking for Reg I teams to play on stream, and already a trend was like, here's 2 restricteds, and here's just 4 standard Pokemon. Here's an Incineroar, here's a Rillaboom, here's a Farigiraf, here's an Urshifu, or here's a Tornadus, here's a Farigiraf, here's an Amoonguss. Like it was kind of just always like, all right, pick your 2 restricted from a hat, and then like let's pick your sides of like really strong support Pokemon. Like it just kind of seemed boring in that way. Like don't get me wrong, like I didn't like Reg H with like Sneasler and like things getting like wonky, don't get me wrong, but I also don't like this either, like average VGC person, I'm never happy with the format. So
classic.
So already like when I was getting teams sent to me, at first it was like, this looks fun, like this is a Tornadus with like a Miraidon and a Cali Shadow with Chi-Yu, and like, this looks fun. And then like I was get sent like a similar kind of concept where it's like, here's fast and like hit hard, and then here's this can hit fast but also has a slow mode, here's a double slow, and it's just like, oh, it's just different restricteds with like the very of the top Pokemon. Like I think it's for those that like creative team building, I think you're in a very bad time personally.
So speaking of creative team building, that is a perfect transition to our discussion in Discord for our OHKO team of this format. As for anyone who's just joined us for the first time, we always work together with our OHKO community in our Discord, linked in the description down below, on one team together. We team build as a group every format, and we've made
It
some really
takes
fun teams.
forever,
It does.
by the way.
It does. It does. It turns out it takes a lot of people to screw in the Zacian light bulb, and you can argue that the light bulb never got screwed in the end. I do think our team was kind of solid at the end or final conclusion of it, but it's whatever. We didn't. I would not have taken the team to a regional in its final state. Whatever. But we made some fun teams. We made a Pheasantipity team. We made, usually we try to build around an underrepresented Pokemon. And I put my foot down today, Sierra, as I saw all of this, like, oh, let's build around the Cosmo Dawnwings and Ho-Oh and all these other, restrictions. I'm like, listen, playtime is over, people. We've had our fun with Pheasantipity. We've had our fun with Weirdeer, okay? We've had the good times with Zacian. It's time to sweat. There's 2 restricteds on the other side now. We have to fight fire with fire at this point. And so I was like, we are building an actual team. Like, we are building a sweaty VGC team this time around. Like, we can't just be using, Palkia Ho-Oh or Lugia Dialga or something like that just because it's silly and off meta. So our poll, I'm going to make the poll later today and post it up, where we have 2 options, Sierra.
Okay.
We're going either Calyrex Shadow Rider plus Zamazenta or Calyrex Ice Rider and Lunala. I talked about last week, that was my duo that I was most interested in building around with the Trick Room core for Lunala and Ice Rider. Other people in the OHKO group talked about they were interested in a Shadow Rider Zamazenta core to, protect your Shadow Rider from opposing Astral Barrages and stuff. So those are our options. We're not throwing Lugia in there. There's no Rayquaza that's going to be happening in this. Those are our OHKO options, Sierra. How do you feel?
I think a boring, personally.
Oh, sorry. Let me throw Dawnwings in there real quick.
So, okay. So there's 2 ways we can go about this, right? So I think picking 2 off the wall restricted, bad. That ain't gonna work. Like, we want a Necrozma Dawnwings and a Ho-Oh. Absolutely no chance, right? But I do think that you could try and put, like, a quote-unquote bad restricted with a good one and see how to make it work. Especially if it's, like, for a fun thing, right? Like, I think it's fine. Like,
and then they lead Miraidon and Shadow Rider against our bad restricted.
No, but that's where you have to get creative with it, right? Or trying your best. What's the item that negates, like, so makes it so weather effects don't affect a Pokemon? Utility Umbrella?
Yeah, something like that. Something Umbrella. Yeah.
Why not Kyogre with Utility Umbrella Ho-Oh? So they bring in a Rillaboom to take care of your Kyogre. You Sacred Fire that. They bring it in like Cinnabore to try and lower the attack of your Ho-Oh, because Ho-Oh is on the attacking, not on the special attacking, which is a big weakness for Ho-Oh. You body it with Kyogre. Also, we're getting thunder here right now. Like,
I hear it. I actually hear it.
Yeah, Arceus was like, this is a dog water idea, Sierra. Like, you're getting smited right now.
You're being smited. You are the person that I have to, like, passively suggest a new idea to in the Discord when they suggest a Utility Umbrella Ho-Oh next to Kyogre, and I have to try to be nice and be like, okay.
I'm sending this idea straight to Boyd. He'll figure something out, all right? He'll make you look like a fool.
I hope so. I'd love to see that.
I think do 1 broken restricted with 1 weird restricted. Do Lunala and the Necrozma Dawnwings. It's like, oh, that's so cute.
So somebody
it's a pairing,
suggested Lunala Zacian, right? And, like, we just build upon what we did with Zacian before. However, that feels like 2 2s. Like, we need a 1 and a 2. You know what I mean? If you do Zacian and Lunala are both the secondary restricted that's supposed to, like, pop off. Like, a 1 is Miraidon, a 1 is Ice Rider, Shadow Rider, Kyogre. Like, that's a 1. But Zacian and Lunala is 2 legendaries.
Yes. And so we just gotta like find a good one and then a not so good one. But it's a fun team. Like, let's do something a little silly. Look, it's not looking to win an event. Like,
it might. You don't know. You don't know that.
Well, so I got a little spicy. Like, definitely don't do, like, Necrozma Dawnwings and, like, Ho-Oh. Like, obviously, like, I think that one's bad, but you can do, like, Necrozma Dawnwings and a good Pokemon. You can do Ho-Oh and a good Pokemon, right? Like, get a little spicy. That's, like, the fun of the building, is how you can make it so the team doesn't completely suck, but only suck a little bit, you know?
It's fun until we have like a core in place, and we're okay, we're building around this, and then somebody comes in with 5 different Pokemon, and one of them is like like Arboliva, and there's also like Oinkologne being suggested as this huge counter pick, and then it completely derails the team building conversation that we were on. And it was like, yeah, I tried the Oinkologne too, and I think it's better than Kyogre.
If we get the OHKO, because people just want to have fun building their silly little teams, you know. If we get the OHKO draft thing actually going, that's where people can send their like crazy team building ideas, and we could be a little bit more on par. But you can't feed what can be an NAIC winning duo to a group of people that want to use Arboliva and expect it's going to turn out. Give the people upgraded Arboliva. Let them build Kyogre Ho-Oh, right?
Oh my god, this is gonna be the worst. This is, it's nice of you to say perched from atop your castle as the person that is not in the muck with the OHKO team Discord. Is I'm the one usually, sifting through the Pokepace. You're up here on your perch just watching.
I have been working with the OHKO server. I have been enlisting the OHKO peeps to help me with SPL. I was having like three people, like people who have won multiple regionals or good at draft leagues. I had them helping me, and things weren't working out. So I fired them all, and I enlisted OHKO instead. And then I won my first SPL match. So like, I think like the OHKO server is like, is stronger than these multi-regional. They're the best, by the way. I appreciate them helping me out. They're just busy with stuff. It didn't work out. No, yeah. They're the best. They're my friends. But the OHKO server's cooking, right?
I fired them. It's crazy.
But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. But
okay, well, question then: do you have any thoughts on Reg-I? Do you think? Because the first thing people post, like, oh, we can run double primals again, or oh, instead of double primals, we do Miraidon and Koraidon, and you have future and past paradoxes on the team. Do you think a team like that can work in Reg-I, where you have double weather or double bikes? I don't know, like Pokemon that are similar to each other as your 2 restrictions, or are they too similar? Does it hurt?
I definitely don't think Groudon and Kyogre is going to work together. I like the analogy of like, this is like a T1 Pokemon, this is T2 Pokemon, and you can't have 2 T2s. I think you can have 2 T1s, but you can't have 2 T2s. I think Kyogre and Groudon are both in that T2 category, to where they're just not going to work together. Both of them as well, I think, just like Groudon, like it's a Pokemon that misses in a world of Pokemon that have spread accurate moves, like it's rough. Kyogre's squishy. We're seeing a lot of there's going to be a lot of Incineroar. That's not good for Groudon. We're going to see a lot of Rillaboom. That's not good for Kyogre. Like, I don't think we'll see that. I do think there's a world where things like Miraidon and Koraidon could be really, really powerful. Just because like those Pokemon by themselves are super, super powerful, and they both like, one hits specially, one hits physically, different type charts, etc. The one thing that I would have to like think there is the potential of like potential Terra Hogs in those. I think Koraidon and Miraidon can both kind of fall under that. Koraidon is the biggest Terra Hog, I think, of all the restricteds. Miraidon's maybe second or third on that list. Maybe third, because I think maybe Zamazenta might be second.
Probably second, yeah.
But yeah. Like putting Trapagos aside, because obviously Trapagos is like also a huge Terra Hog, but I think that would be like the biggest thing with the team building.
That could be fun. Maybe all right. Well, do you say Trapagos is a 1 or a 2? I would say Trapagos is a 1. Like, you have to build around it. I know it's not as good as the other ones, but you kind of have to build the team around it.
I think it's a 2. I think it's a 2. Honestly,
really, it's the core mechanic of the team. You have to Terra it every game.
No, but like, I'm not saying type 1 as the one you have to build around. I'm saying as that's like the stronger of the 2, to where like,
gotcha,
you kind of need a 1 for the team to have like a good opportunity and chance into things, and the tier 2 is to balance out weaknesses and like help matchup spread. So I think Terrapagos would be really good for helping equalize matchup spread, be good against like over things in general. But I think you would need a T1 for like the initial kind of like breaking through, and like the stronger of the 2.
I get what you're saying. I don't know. It's tough. I think there's gonna be a lot of testing in these first couple of weeks, and I think with how Reg G played out, especially Reg G 2.0. This is like I feel like it was a huge comeback for Reg G. Like it had a huge glow up the second time around compared to people's opinions the first time around. Like if we never replayed this format and it was just how it ended in Honolulu, people would have a lot worse taste in their mouth on Reg G. But
I agree.
The second time around, people had a lot more fun with it. So maybe we're in for the same thing, that like Worlds is going to be frustrating with this format, but then post Worlds, if we run it back for some time, if we keep this format till like, I don't know, November or something like that, maybe post Worlds it'll be fun, but we'll see.
It'd be interesting, but yeah, I would love to know people's comments about Reg I in general. I think too, like this weekend is going to be the first Victory Road. There's obviously a lot of things already happening with Reg I. So this weekend is a Victory Road tour if you're interested in that, but that would give good way for like next weekend to actually talk about some of the results, because right now it's just like a lot of speculating, and we've been speculating about double restricteds and stuff we can see in Reg I for a long time now, so it's like
almost a year now.
So it's like
about it.
It's like now we have confirmation, but again, this conversation isn't necessarily new, so there's not too much new stuff to add until we start to get a couple of those results. And I do have to go soon, so we can quickly answer a question of the week, and then I got to run.
Yes, so we have some time constraints. Let's answer quickly. First of all, anyone who ever has any burning questions for Sierra and I, we always answer one question at the end of every podcast. So join our Discord. We have a question of the week chat. You can send it there. Our question is not this from Geb, who messed up. Geb said, "Why do I always come up with the best ideas for question of the week while I'm driving and can't write it down, thus making me doomed to forget it?" So Geb almost had the question of the week, but you messed up, buddy. You messed up because you lost out. We're going to right a wrong from last week, as Sierra had felt like I chose the wrong question of the week and wanted to go in Lebanon Don's direction. But which of the two questions was it? Was it the VGC mainstream or was it the 6v6 doubles compared to 4v4? What was
VGC
the correct?
mainstream, which is also like the wrong time to pick because I feel like there's a lot of opinions on it, but I'm still down with this question.
Cool. So our question of the week comes from Lebanon Don, who asks, when would you consider Pokemon VGC mainstream? The anime itself is mainstream, yes, but when do you consider VGC mainstream? And so there's a lot of questions, and we don't have a lot of time to get into it. We will try to get into it quickly here, but what does mainstream mean? Are we there yet? What do we have to achieve to obtain mainstream? Go ahead, Sierra.
So I think, like, when I think of mainstream, obviously this is kind of more of an extreme example, but I look at something like Fortnite. It's known within the community. It's also known outside to non-gaming people, and it's used as like a reference point in like video gaming, right? You get to see it in pop culture. You get to see it like referenced in TV, etc. I think that's going to be kind of the criteria I look at if something's considered mainstream, which then puts at VGC, no. I think Pokemon, especially like the battling aspect, is doing better to try and break into that. I still think it's very, like, a lot of that where Pokemon is looking to be mainstream is actually, funny enough, with Showdown, of all things. Yeah. Showdown has done a better job at breaking through than the Pokemon video game. Obviously, Showdown is not affiliated by Pokemon.
Like Shofu and Moist Critical, that whole thing going on, you know?
Yeah, there was like the one person who's like, I'm so bad with names, but like this one super popular content creator that went challenging like all the other top content creators. Like, I get kick your butt at Pokemon Showdown. I think they're just playing Ranbats or singles or something, but like it's Pokemon Showdown, not VGC. Or you look at Love is Blind, and then there was the whole like Milton, like, yo, I'm nationally ranked at Pokemon Showdown. Right, buddy?
But I'm banned in 4 countries.
But, like, that was something that, like, made its way into, like, bigger pieces of media, right? So I think if, with things like Pokemon Champions and stuff like that, if we do actually have this level of being able to get into the game, that it can slowly get better. But I still think at this point, Pokemon Showdown is just way more accessible to where that's kind of breaking into that mainstream culture more than VGC is. Which maybe if we actually have an online class, if we bring champions to computer, if we do this sort of stuff, maybe it could break through. But when Pokemon has a little bit of easier bar to entry, I think is when we can see a little bit more of it. And I think it would have to be following the same path that Showdown has. Funny enough, considering the relationship, but
I would agree with you. I would say we have not obtained mainstream yet in the traditional sense of are we mainstream? Because my barometer is always like, does your mom know who this is? Right? Like that. Does your mom know who You know, Alex Underhill is shout outs, 3-time regional champion, great team builder and a coach in the league. No, my mom doesn't. But my mom knows who Wolf is. And she, she roots for Wolf at events, and he's got 2 million subscribers and all these things. And maybe there's another, does my mom know who Tord or Azul are? No, but she probably knows who Ninja is because Ninja was on Jimmy Fallon, right? So there's a level that we have not obtained or reached for mainstream status. But are we mainstream? I think we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about someone winning worlds and going on Jimmy Fallon to be mainstream. We have to become gaming sphere and esports sphere mainstream. That's the goal. I don't think we're there yet. I think we will achieve it when we go through airport terminals and go through TSA, and when they ask us, when we say I'm going to a Pokemon event, and once they stop asking for Pokemon Go or stop asking
for Pokemon cards, because that went huge
cards,
mainstream during COVID,
correct,
right?
Right, exactly. Once they understand we mean competitive battling Pokemon, that is when we have achieved VGC mainstream. Until then, they're still going to say, "Oh, like Pokemon Go." I'm like, no, but also yes, kind of.
Last point, because I do have to go really soon. But the call out on Wolf, I think, is actually humongous. Obviously, sometimes people have Wolf exhaustion. He does well at an event and it's Wolf's face everywhere. There is on my YouTube thing after EYC, it was Wolf's top moments, top plays by Wolf, top this, and they're all getting super hella views.
For our, our podcast is the biggest episode we ever had.
It's the method. If it includes Wolf, it's gonna get a lot. But the reason is in terms of who people know in Pokemon, Wolf is the only one really that people might have a chance at. So I think beyond the path of just the game being more known, as Wolf gets more and more popular, he was whether your opinions on iShow Speed or anything doesn't matter, he was referenced.
Yes.
Wolf was called out and referenced by him in a little on raft thing he was doing, right? That is getting more mainstream. There's things like that. So Wolf, I think, is Pokemon's key for VG to be
and the
most
documentary
mainstream.
And everything.
Yeah,
we could send that to friends that aren't aware.
Yeah. So I think regardless of anyone's opinions, obviously we're Wolf we're Wolf fans. He's a great friend. He's a great person. Regardless of anyone's opinions, I think he has only done the most beneficial stuff for the appearance and the game becoming more and more mainstream and more known, which is huge. So
also, who would be mainstream is my guy Joe Garte, because my mom asks me how Joe's doing all the time. So he's mainstream.
Let's go. All right, I actually really gotta run now. Yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up. Sorry we couldn't dive more into VG stuff, but of course the Nintendo Direct, there's a lot of great news there. We want to know how you think about it, which of course you can let us know in the comments below or in the Discord server. That's also gonna be linked. We have a great community over in OHKO. We talked about Pokemon. There's team building. SPL, there's just great conversations. We've been talking about Red Velvet and K-pop lately.
Yes, I love Red Velvet. It's a great time
over there. Yes, it's a good time. So yeah, join that if you've made it to this point in the podcast. Thank you again so much for listening. We'll see you next week as we talk about more about Reg I results and upcoming regionals. Thank you again. We'll see you real soon.